And we are back with your Palm Beach Guide. I'm Doug Evans, the president and CEO of the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce, the island's Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. And, you know, today is one of those days where you have liquid sunshine. Once in a while it does rain here. Not very often, once in a while it does. And, you know, on days like today, it's one of those kind of like snuggle up and just kick back and read a book kind of a thing. And you don't feel forced like you have to go to the beach. So this is our weekly podcast. And today I have one of my favorite charities in all of Palm Beach. And when I say that, I mean it. I went to their gala this year. And I was blown away. I walked into the ballroom at Mar-a-Lago and I was transported to Italy. Lemon topiaries, topiary trees, just absolutely gorgeous. And I felt like there was 10,000 people there, but in a beautiful, beautiful way. With me today is Rebecca Torres.
Hi,
she's the executive director of the Palm Beach Police and Fire Foundation. Did I get it exactly right?
You did.
Sometimes I get it backwards.
I know. A lot of people
and that's
do.
okay, but just, I mean, it's okay for what it is. And you know what I loved, Rebecca, about the event you produce every year is when I walked around the pool, when I walked into the gala itself, this is a hometown charity. This
Definitely.
I mean, everybody who's anybody, and then nobody like me was in the room to support the men and women who serve us every day to keep us safe and sound, the police people, the fire people, I would say policemen, firemen, firewomen, policewomen. And to me, I thought you did such a beautiful event. So now let's talk about you first. We had a chance to visit here off air, shall they say, about your background. And I know everybody's a big fan of yours. I've asked around and people are like, oh, she's so wonderful. She does such a great job.
You.
So how long have you been at the foundation?
About 4 years. So I started in late 2019, right before the pandemic.
Here we go, right?
Yeah. So it's definitely been a wild ride and a big shift in initiatives, right? Starting a few months before our annual ball that you were just talking about, jumping into that, making it happen. It was a little bit wonky when I first started, and then shifting completely. So that following March, just 4 or 5 months after I started, was the complete world shutdown for a global pandemic.
Here we go, right?
Yeah.
Here we go.
So we shifted pretty radically. Obviously, we're very events-based, donor-based, stewardship event-based, and rather than hosting everything that we had to host, we canceled everything and pivoted and offered. We did tons of drive-through events. I don't know if you remember back then, but we did the mask drive-through for the community. So we did a bunch of those events. We helped we didn't help bring the vaccines, but we helped the fire department get on their feet with that and supported them through the vaccines coming to town. And so that was the first year was definitely crazy.
And if you can get through that, you can get through anything. I think.
Absolutely.
It's like, I thought, you know, at my old age, I thought I'd seen it all in my career. You know, everything, the disasters that happened from wars to whatever, a virus, a pandemic. I never thought in my lifetime. Now, before this, though, you had an amazing organization you were working with.
Yeah, so I worked in fundraising for Alsac St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So
what a great organization!
Yeah, it was
Marlo
wonderful.
Thomas, Danny Thomas,
that
whole gang. I mean, for those who are listening, you know, you might not remember Danny Thomas, but he was a major mega star.
Yeah,
and he worked so hard to raise money because, as I understand it, at St. Jude's, you can go there, cost you nothing.
Right, it's free. Treatment, travel, housing, and food all covered by the hospital. So it's a really special
and
place.
all for children, right?
Right, all children, and I think a lot of people don't know this, but it's one of the major treatment centers for sickle cell disease as well.
I didn't know that.
So not just childhood cancers, and but also sickle cell. So,
I mean, that had to be a really fulfilling job for you because you know you're saving lives, and that you pivoted when you are here. Now, have you lived here for a long time in the Palm Beaches? Is it?
So just before I started with the foundation, maybe 4 or 5 months before that, I moved to West Palm.
Okay.
My parents retired here, and I wanted to be closer to them. So when I tried to come down, there was no regional office for St. Jude based in West Palm Beach. And so I just found a new job, and I've loved it ever since.
And you found the best job, and you got here just in time for where you're living. It's the explosion.
I know, the boom's been crazy.
And that, you know, that you step into your executive director role at the foundation. Tell me about the foundation, because I personally know what you do. And I think to me, it feels to me that it's a little bit unique with what you're doing here compared to other communities. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's the only organization in the country that serves both police and fire right now. There's several police foundations throughout the country. We haven't encountered one that covers both types of organizations. I don't think it's historically normal or traditional for police and fire to get along. That was one of the hurdles that we first encountered. So I started right after the organization changed from the Palm Beach Police Foundation to the Palm Beach Police and Fire Foundation. So they shifted in June or July 2019. So by December, it was already merged. And I think it's been really great. It's been great to bring two worlds who don't traditionally get along together. So the organizations and the officers and firefighters are certainly really, really, really respectful and nice to each other. And we do a lot for them. So I will say, I'll talk a little bit about our mission, I guess. And so the organization was originally founded in 2006 in order to bring education to the children of police officers and the civilian employees of the police department.
Well, so what do you mean by bring education to them?
So any college-age children that qualified for a scholarship funding, we did scholarships for them. Obviously, that's now open to both police, fire, and civilian employees of both departments. And that's been our main project for a really long time. However, after the pandemic and everything being crazy in Palm Beach, tons of people moving to the island, there's been a really big stress on public safety and a really big stress for people to want to support our local public safety heroes, as we like to refer to them as. And so we've had a huge boom, and our board has really, really advocated for us to spend more money on our mission. So outside of scholarships, now we are also providing a retention benefit to the police officers and firefighters. So it's called the Preston Burnick Retention Program, and it's formatted as a 401k. Wow. Every officer and firefighter receives one, and civilian employees all receive an account. And basically it's a tax-deferred account, and we make a contribution of that account into that account every year on their behalf. They don't have to contribute anything. Wow. They don't have to give anything, but we're giving between 4 and 7% is our goal. The last 2 years, we've given 4 and 4.75% respectively. And the goal is that they're going to receive this benefit. They're going to want to stay longer to feel the benefit grow. Sure. And once they retire after, let's say, 20 years with the town, they'll have a really nice size sum of retirement money. So maybe $250,000 or $300,000 if they leave it in there and don't touch it. Wow.
Wow. You know something, it's important to make sure we keep really good people in these positions. And it would never occur to me that, because I live here in town, it would never occur to me that the policemen and firemen and firewomen don't get along. It's like, because I see them all together all the time, and they're the nicest people.
No, and they all work together well. I don't want to spread the rumor they don't get along. I just think historically, right, it's like you're a police officer or you're a firefighter. You don't intermingle too much. Obviously, they work on calls together, but I've never encountered any animosity. But
neither have I. And I see how they come together when something is happening here in town. And what you're doing for them is they literally, this job is to put your life on the line. Mm-hmm. Period. And I think, I was talking to some folks about what it used to be a firefighter or a policeman here in town. And 10 years ago, they would get a lot of calls for senior citizens. Yeah. Now they get calls for families. Yeah. The typical kid falls out of the tree kind of a thing now, because there's so many more families here. Yeah. And to me, that's a real pivot for them. Yeah. And like I said, they put their lives on the line because things happen here. I think, in Palm Beach, people see this on the news once in a while. Once in a while, people come ashore, in the boats, people trying to immigrate, and they find this is a good landing point due to the Gulf Stream or something or whatever, something out of my pay class. I don't understand. but these men and women do that. Was this not happening before the foundation was started? Were they not getting this kind of support from anywhere?
I don't think so. I don't think so either. And also, I think a large amount of the people that we serve now who are, of the captain level or leadership level now and have kids in college, they've been around for a really long time. They've been around 20, 25 years with the police department. We have a lot of people who have a lot of longevity. Then I know there were some rough years there with the town where we lost some people stuck it out. And then we have a big chunk of new people. And I will say, they've all kind of experienced different elements and facets of the foundation and what they've received. I'm not sure what they did before the foundation, but I will say that since we've been around, and especially in the last 4 years, our support has grown exponentially, not only for the education, but now the retention program. We also fund equipment that they may need. So our ball last year, the big fundraiser, and it was sort of like a live ask cash call type thing, was to fund the Public Safety Command Center. So we just deployed about $650,000 in that effort for a totally new software that's going to make the dispatch for police and fire a lot more functional, a lot more easy to use. They're going to be able to use one system instead of 20 different ones. They're going to be able to combine and be more efficient. And so That's our third really big bucket that we do, is support any direct needs for the departments, whether that's a need that helps both or each department individually. And I think we've been able to do a lot more of the last 4 years with just the incredible and amazing support of the town.
Sure.
I mean, it's really easy for us to go out and say, this is directly supporting where you live and the people that protect you, and people, a lot of residents are so generous and don't even think twice. You know, they want to make it the best situation for police and fire. So,
well, I think sometimes people think, well, don't my taxes pay for that? The truth is they don't.
They don't, no.
You're listening to Doug Evans. This is your Palm Beach Guide. I'm here with Rebecca Torres with the Palm Beach Police and Fire Foundation, and she does an amazing job. It's one of those things where you think your tax dollars pay for it, but I've also watched the town try to raise money through the government to be able to fund a fire station, to renovate that. It's slow going. It's very difficult.
And that's been crazy. It's been so over budget, unexpected. I mean, crazy.
But we need that here. Like every town needs a fire department. Mm-hmm. And in this town, as I recall, there are three fire stations,
Correct.
Midtown, North, and South. I'm in the South End.
Okay.
And of course, the main control center is right there in town by Town Hall, where they do all these kind of great things.
Right.
So the additive nature of what you're doing, like funding $650,000 worth of software, that alone infers to me that you've created more of a safety mechanism for people here in town to move faster to emergencies that might not happen otherwise.
Exactly. One other thing that's sort of augments this software that we're inputting is we also sponsored the implementation of a software called Prepared Live or Prepared 911. So basically, if you call 911 or you text 911, they're able to send you a link to your phone where you can touch the link, and let's say you're on Worth Avenue and someone's robbing a place. You can turn the camera around and show the dispatch live video. Or if you are in a situation and someone's having a heart attack, you can turn the camera around, show the dispatcher the live video feed of what's going on. They can walk you through what to do until fire rescue gets there, and that's also shared with fire rescue or the police department live while they're en route to the scene.
On their way there, sure.
And so they're able to be more prepared and better equipped once they get there. And so even though we have really fast response times in the town, this software is really going to augment, just positive outcomes in any different type of situation.
Well, especially if you don't know what to do. I was talking to Kiana Rivera, my colleague at the office, and she was recalling situations once where one of her colleagues went into some kind of a convulsive or a situation, and they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So in this situation, you take the camera, turn it on, hit the button, and you've got the person watching it. They can talk to you.
The dispatch can help you.
And they can help you until the
and they also,
when they get there.
Loop in fire rescue to say, okay, this situation's going on. This is what the person looks like. And they can be better prepared, get their stuff ready to go, so they can just arrive on the scene and, take care of business.
And it's really that way. It also pinpoints the exact location, even more so because the cell phone is right on spot. So that's I've never heard of this before. So to me,
so now you can text 911 at least in the town of Palm Beach. I know that from what I've heard from the police department, this is going to be adopted countywide.
Wow.
I think we were one of the first to sponsor it. The foundation sponsored it for police and fire in the town of Palm Beach, so we were one of the first to have it. But I do believe the county is going to get on board and it's going to spread a little bit more widely. So,
and you led the way. Now, is there an endowment? Is there a standing endowment with the foundation? We
don't have a formal endowment, but we do have funds restricted to investment.
Okay.
We try not to touch those, and we are trying to build a nice little cushion in order for this to go on into perpetuity, to continue long after our founders are gone and I'm gone, and
you're not going to be gone for a long time, trust me.
Yeah, but
you're too young to think about that. Plus, you do a great job.
Just to continue to support all of the children and help as many people as we can.
Because the gifts to this are tax deductible. It's a 501c3, so there's a tax deduction there. And while there are lots of worthwhile charities that you can give to, if you live in town, to me, this is an investment in where you live.
Absolutely.
It's helping with the infrastructure. It's helping with the services. And something, if you've got really good personnel, firefighters and police people, I'm trying to do the...
Police officers.
Police officers. There you go. Police officers, men and women who are all great, by the way.
Yeah.
You're helping to keep them here. Mm-hmm. And with the cost of living here, if you do something that says, we're going to help you for your long-term future, that's more income.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say it's free money because it's not free money because they work hard.
Correct.
Period.
They do.
And if it wasn't for, the two gentlemen who founded the foundation in 2006.
Yep. John Scarp and Tim Moran.
I saw them speak at the Phelan's house this year with the pre-event party.
That's right.
And they're so proud of their idea. to get this started. And it's
Yeah.
raised millions and millions since then. And this last gala, $3.5 million.
Yeah.
I was blown away. I'm like, that is a lot of cash.
It is, yeah. Especially for, we are a very local organization. All the money we raise goes directly to support the town of Palm Beach. It's not the county, it's just the town. So for that small of a footprint of impact, we really do a lot. Not only do we raise a lot, but we provide a lot. And so I think it's something that John and Tim should be very, very proud of, because they have worked really hard on this.
And you have such a huge staff.
Yeah.
That's a wink, wink. There's not. So it's you, right? Basically,
we have four people in the office
to raise that kind of money and to administer that's no overhead.
No, it's not a lot.
That's no overhead to do all this work every year. And all these events I see you do also. It's, you said you're event driven, and events, for those of you listening, if you volunteer for an event with a charity, or you help plan them, or you do them, if you're an event planner, it's a lot of work.
A lot of work, yeah. And a lot of ours are of the nature of a seated dinner. So whether it's a ball or a stewardship event where we have a guest speaker, a lot of thought and planning goes into, table seating and people changing or canceling or adding. And it can be challenging, but we try to keep it as best and perfect as possible.
And if it's an outdoor event, good luck, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, the weather can certainly be unpredictable.
I was at one last weekend, and last weekend was kind of boxed in with storms. I thought, please, please, please let these people get through this event. And they did. They got through it beautifully. There was no rain and all that kind of thing. And so when you do those kinds of things, but the special events with the foundation are the lifeblood of what you're doing here.
Exactly. And it's how we connect with the community at large.
So annually, it was $3.5 million at the gala, the ball. What's your total annual approximately that you raise every year for
We're close to $5.5 million.
That's huge.
Yeah. So
I got chills. That's amazing.
It's wonderful. It certainly is. We are about $5.5 million, and we add to our endowment annually. Obviously, not our formal endowment, but we add funds to that annually, so we don't have to touch it. Then we just have our operational funds, and we also do about $1.5 to $2 million on direct support to police and fire. So through the retention program, through the scholarships, through the equipment. And then we also do tons of other things for them. Like we have a fishing tournament that we take our first responders on. We've done softball tournaments. We've done family fun days, where we've done kids events where we bring all the kids or bring all the families together for something.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And I also know that by you being in the community, you've inspired other people. Like I was told that they needed washers and dryers in the station.
Yeah, Janet Levy sponsored those.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but you did. But Janet Mark Levy said they need this because when they come back in, they've got the carcinogens and all the stuff on them.
And it's really helping to fight cancer, for them who are directly, I guess, exposed to chemicals and things like that. We love Janet, and she has certainly supported.
She loves you too. She's a big fan of the foundation. Yeah. She and Mark are. And I know that, this year actually, you spoke at the Chamber of Commerce breakfast. Yeah. And what I loved about that, by the way, was that you really got the word out there more to 500 people who might not have known.
Yeah, there was so many things that came from that. We talked with the Ben Zeiton Center about hosting something for the police and fire, like a glass blowing event, and things like that. We had a lot of connection come out of that. People who know about the foundation but learned a little bit more.
Right.
There were other charities there that hadn't heard about us before.
And foundations, by the way, also in the room, and people with money in the room.
Yeah, exactly. So it was wonderful, and we're going to continue that.
I hope so, because as I was listening to your story, I'm like, look at what they're doing here. This is crazy in a great way. So I was thrilled that you did that. And it's one of those things, Rebecca, where, it's like with Janet Levy and Mark Levy buying washers and dryers. Mm-hmm. If they didn't know about you, then they can't help you.
Right.
And so in that room, you and I both know who's sitting in that room every month.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of people who have resource. Mm-hmm. I put it that way anymore. It's just posting a lot of money. They have a lot of resource. And, to get the word out on an annual basis, because people forget, and so many new people are moving here.
That's the thing too. Yeah. And,
oh my gosh.
I feel that we're constantly putting ads in the paper. We do a newsletter that goes out to every house on the island. We do speaking engagements. And I feel like people still don't know a lot about it. So it's just those touch points continually.
And you're going to keep doing it because we're a big fan of yours. And I'm so overwhelmed with joy that you're here today to join us for the podcast. And, running the Chamber of Commerce to me is a joy and it's an honor because I love my town. Yeah. I plan on retiring here. I live in town, and it's where I'm just going to hopefully drift onto the ocean one of these days. And to find out that there are people like you, Rebecca, who have a passion, and the donors to make sure that we're all taken care of is so important, because it doesn't happen all the time in communities. And this is very special.
It certainly is here.
It is. And so, we want to do more for you. So if people want to give, what's the website address?
It's easy. pbpf.us, like Palm Beach Police Fire.us, like United States.
That's so simple. They take credit cards. They do all kinds of good things on the website.
Yeah.
And when is the big ball this next year? Do you have a date yet?
January 18th, 2025.
And it's going to be held where?
At Mar-a-Lago.
At Mar-a-Lago, which is a gorgeous, if you're listening, the Mar-a-Lago is a member of the Chamber of Commerce. It's a gorgeous venue.
Yes, they're amazing to us.
It's amazing, and they do wonderful work there for a lot of charities. So Rebecca Torres, the executive director, the queen, the CEO, the grand poobah who runs the Palm Beach Police and Fire Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Thanks for having me.
We're so glad you're here, and we're on your team, and we'll do what we can to make sure you get more money for the men and women who work for us every day.
Appreciate that.
You've been listening to Doug Evans. I'm the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. This is your Palm Beach Guide. Join us every week. Find us on your wonderful Spotify, wherever you pick things up with your podcasts. And remember, come to Palm Beach. Come visit us. It's a beautiful place. It's easy to get to, and we'd love to welcome you with open arms. Make it a great day. Thanks, Rebecca. You're the best.
Thank you.